Hey guys, it's RockWarrior97 here, and tonight I'm responding to a video that Tyler Talks Wrestling has made called 20 Questions for the Wrestling Fan. So let's get started on it, okay? Number 1. How did you get into wrestling, and when did you start watching it? I got into wrestling when I was playing a bunch of WWF Attitude Era video games from Nintendo 64, like WWF No Mercy, WWF WrestleMania 2000, and even a WCW game, WCW NWO Revenge, I believe. But I never really started watching it until 2006 because, well, let's just say, at that time, during the Attitude Era, wrestling was really raunchy at the time, and well, let's just say I was banned from watching it for a long time. 2006 was the time they finally let me watch it. Number 2. What is or are your favorite wrestler or wrestlers of all time? That's a tough question, but I would have to say Jeff Hardy, definitely. Ultimate Warrior, yes, the Ultimate Warrior. Sting. Ric Flair. Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, of course. To a lesser extent, Mankind. It's not that I hate him, I'm just a bigger fan of the other guys. And Tommy Dreamer from ECW was great in his heyday, but I have to say Rob Van Dam is my favorite guy from ECW. Oh, the original ECW. What is the worst gimmick or gimmicks in the history of wrestling? Spirit Squad. Hands down. Pardon my language, but what the fuck were they thinking? What was your favorite era in the WWF? That's easy, the Attitude Era. That was when it was awesome. Number 5. Through the years of watching wrestling, what has been your all-time favorite wrestling promotion? Either the Attitude Era WWF or the original ECW. I can't really decide, but I have to say Attitude Era WWF just because I'm more familiar with that than I was with DCW, because around that time ECW didn't have much promotion. They only had 1 or 2 video games out, and so I wasn't really familiar with them. Nowadays I'm more familiar with it, but I'm still more familiar with Attitude Era WWF, so that's why I picked it. Okay, question number 6. During the Monday Night Wars, who do you think had the better product? WWF or WCW, and explain why. In the beginning, WCW was kicking ass in the ratings, and they had some pretty good storylines, although I must admit some of them were a little on the awkward side. And the WWF catered more towards kids. But around 1998, the WWF turned the tables, and WWF started becoming more adult-style entertainment, while WCW was just doing the same stuff they did. And eventually, they hired Vince Russo from the WWF to come over and help him out, but all he did was just drive him down in the ground further. So I'd have to say the WWF, mainly because they started out sucking, but they managed to redeem themselves for the most part, and while I must admit the storylines from 1995-ish to 1997, some were pretty bad, but at least they made them have an ending, while in the later years of WCW, no one really cared. It was just a big corporate company, and all these legends and like Lex Luger and Hulk Hogan were getting thick, fat paychecks, and they didn't give a shit about the product. According to Chris Jericho in his autobiography, the only legend that gave a shit about the product that was in the company was Ric Flair. Question number 7. What to you are some of the most memorable wrestling moments? I would definitely have to say when WCW was bought by the WWF. That was the ginormous bombshell that was dropped in the wrestling world. The match with, let me think. Austin winning at WrestleMania 15 was actually pretty special because while the match with The Rock wasn't terrible, but it could. Let's just say that at better encounters at WrestleMania 17 and at Backlash 1999. Well, that was probably the worst of their 3 or 4 encounters. Still, just seeing Austin with the belt again for the first time in almost a year, it was really special because he finally triumphed over the corporation. Another really special moment was at Backlash 2000 when you see The Rock and Austin having a beer together after they finally defeated the McMahon-Helmsley regime. Those 2 moments, instant instant classics. Number 8. In your opinion, who is the most popular wrestler of all time? Either Hulk Hogan, mainly because he became a movie star, although not a very good one, or maybe Ric Flair, mainly because of all the barriers he's broken, and a lot of people have said that he's their inspiration. Number 9. Who do you believe is the most underrated wrestler of all time? Definitely Paul London. When he was in his tag team days with Brian Kendrick in 2006, 2007-ish, and they had a tag team match on SmackDown against Gregory Helms and Chavo Guerrero, they did a double team move. I can't even describe how it looked. It was just, what the hell was that? And it was awesome. High flying moves and stuff. It was so awesome I couldn't describe it to you.